Today, I'm going to zoom in a little bit on this perspective and discuss about our work on traffic scenario generation with diffusion model as a collaborative effort between Princeton and Nanyang Technological Universities. Oops. So today's AVAS system are already capable of successfully smooth cruising on the highways. However, fully autonomous systems still need to handle complex things such as interact and navigate in the crowd, avoiding accidents in those safety critical situations, and even dealing with adversarial scenarios. Dataset and the simulator containing those scenarios are essential for training traffic behavior models, improving decision-making policy, and validating AV's performance. As these traffic scenes become more rare and complex, the cost of collecting such data increase, not just in terms of mileage per event, but also the risk to human life. So the key question here is, how can we effectively generate those realistic but also interactive traffic scenarios in simulation to improve AV's decision-making system? So one way we can think about traffic modeling or modeling interaction is by formulating an optimal control problems in the joint state space of multiple agents. However, here are two key questions or two key challenges. First, how do we construct this optimization objective that is conditioned on scene context such as maps, past history, to match those implicit cost functions human beings have while driving? And also, how do we solve these optimization problems considering we have a lot of agents, so the state space is huge? So theoretically, we can use inverse reinforcement learning to learn the optimization objective, right? And under the max entropy IRL formulation, the Boltzmann distribution of the J or the optimization objective approximates the probability of joint control sequence given a scene. And technically, we can learn the J that rationalize the real-world driving scenario by maximize the log likelihood from a large driving data set. But what's the problems? First, it's impossible to enumerate all the driving scenarios. Therefore, obtaining this Z, the normalization factor, in this Boltzmann distribution is quite tricky. So one good news is that if you look close to this formulation, the Boltzmann distribution here match the form of energy-based models. And to avoid explicitly calculating this Z, one way we can use is a cluster tool called score matching that estimates the gradient of this log distributions, which in our case recovers the gradient of our design optimization objective. But this sounds too good to be true, right? Because once we get this J as a gradient of this J, we can just sample realistic traffic behavior from gradient descent. This is too nice. So what's the problem here? Because in the large data set we have, it's only containing those optimal demonstrations. So the gradient in those non-optimal regions are hard to be learned properly. And then if we just initialize from like a random location of this, for example, large control space, there's no way, or it's very hard to actually arrive at the top of the distribution. So our friends from computer vision lab will tell us diffusion models, which are powerful tool in generative AI, are designed to solve these problems. So nowadays, we already see that diffusion model is capable of generating photorealistic images and the videos. But from a robotics perspective, how can we leverage such strong generation capability in the domain of autonomous driving? So a quick overview of diffusion models is at the training time, we iteratively generate noise samples from the data set using a stochastic process to gradually transform an unknown data distribution into a known distribution, for example, a Gaussian. And then we have a neural network that is trained to denoise those samples by learning the gradient of the perturbation or this lifted distributions. And at the inference, sorry. Here's the technical log. Oh, here we go. And at inference time, we can iteratively denoise from the random sample following the learned gradient. So here's a huge lag between the presentation here and Zoom. So in the light of this advancement in generative modelings, we propose our model called the VBD, or Versatile Behavior Diffusion, as a foundational multi-agent traffic behavior model. For the sake of time, so I'm going to skip the architecture detail, but we can discuss more in the post session, but show you what VBD can do. So VBD can generate scene-consistent and realistic scenarios that are coherent to traffic rules and social norms. So in first examples here, the vehicle 0 yield to the oncoming traffic, then proceed a left turn. In the second example here, vehicle 1 slowly entering in the intersection, wait for the other car to pass by, and then finish this unprotected left turns. The generation capability of VVD can scale beyond 2 vehicle cases. In the left example, vehicle arriving at this 4-way stop intersections. Each vehicle take a complete stop and exit the intersection following the order of arrival. What's more impressive is that VVD can handle more complex things to generate joint control sequence of many agents here. So by modeling traffic scenarios in joint space, the interaction are well captured in our models. In these examples, the vehicle 0 pull out from the stop sign and leave the vehicle 1 to hit it for a second. And as the vehicle 0 stop and complete yield to the other vehicle, the car 1 accelerate forward. Here, we see cars are trying to cross the lane boundary to bypass this vehicle 1 that is stopping for the left turns. I don't know if it's legal or something here in Netherlands, but this is what a driver would do in US, right? This is where the data set is captured. So the generation quality of VVD is top-notch. That help us to win the second place in the Waymo semi-agent challenge this year. But in my opinion, the capability of this model is way beyond what this benchmarking measures. One key feature of diffusion model in general is using the guided samplings. And VVD can integrate with any user-provided cost function to conduct controllable generation by conducting an alternative gradient step through denoiser and external objective. For example, when we can integrate a barrier function to penalize collisions and then generate the coordination between 2 vehicles in these challenging narrow passage scenarios. And previously, we have seen that those unguided scenario generation have achieved very decent realism and performance. But what happens when we introduce external cost function as guidance? And VVD will still ensure the generation match users' objective, but also maintain a sync consistency. Here, we can force a car 5 to break the traffic rule and run the stop signs by enforcing our goal for the way. And this leads vehicle 1 to take emergency stop to avoid collision, despite we do not have explicit saying that you have to avoid collision. And so far, we have demonstrated that VVD can simulate traffic scenarios within the data distributions. But how can we systematically generate long-tail events that are safety critical and which are beyond the distribution of the training data set? So for examples, these are pretty benign scenarios when a vehicle merges into the main road, right? And how can we edit this scenario to become more safety critical for vehicle 1? So the approach we propose is that we can iteratively optimize the behavior of adversarial vehicle and ego vehicle with a gradient descent ascent algorithms. This is in light of a game theory formulation by modeling two vehicle interaction, or in this safety critical case as a zero-sum pursuit evasion games. And as a result, we can see that the purple vehicle was run into this main road and push the vehicle 1 to push out of road boundaries. And recall that in the previous slide, we have seen this blue SUV try to deliberately cut in the way and cause accident with this yellow truck. And with this game theoretic guidance, we can systematically generate a similar scenarios as the purple vehicle try to cut in front and cause a rear-end collision. And then in the return, the green vehicle took emergency maneuver and do a quick line change to avoid the attack. Finally, I want to thank you for my collaborator for their help in developing this work, and thank you all for taking this time for my presentations.